live in high definition. This is Western New York's news leader. Now, News 4 at 10.
We are learning new details tonight about the arson investigation underway in Jamestown. Good evening, everyone. Officials tell us 5 fires were intentionally set overnight. Tonight, we're hearing from neighbors who say they're afraid to leave their properties unattended. News 4's Rachel Monjovi has the latest details live from Jamestown. Rachel?
Yeah, Callan, it was a long night for firefighters here in Jamestown. We're told it took crews more than 6 hours to extinguish 5 different house fires, and they are still investigating these arson fires. They say the suspect hasn't been caught.
I think it's disgusting. I really think it's disgusting that people got to do stuff like, 'cause you don't even know if there's a homeless person in one of them houses.
People going around the city setting abandoned houses on fire, for what reason?
People living in Jamestown are outraged. Since 11 o'clock Friday night, 5 vacant homes were set on fire. The Jamestown Fire Department says all 5 fires were arson, each one set about an hour apart from each other.
Our detectives are in today working really hard trying to determine, if it's one or more people and who's responsible for this.
Smells of the fire still linger in the air in Jamestown, each one about a block away. Fire officials say the first fire started on 6th Street, the next on Crossman, 2 on West 11th Street, and the last one on West 10th Street. It took crews about an hour to extinguish each fire.
The flames were shooting out the top. The roof was collapsing as it was just, there were firemen in the back, spraying the back, smoke everywhere. It was just bad.
Jamestown Fire had nearly 30 firefighters battling the flames with the assistance from other departments.
It's pretty unusual to have this many fires in this short a period of time. We're a small community. We might get 1 or 2 in a night, but never have any of us seen this many fires in this short of a period of time.
As detectives continue investigating, neighbors say they're afraid there could be more.
We were afraid to leave the house last night. We didn't want to leave.
And whoever's doing this, I hope they get caught.
3 of the 5 locations have been demolished. We're told the fire department here has extra firefighters working tonight in case something happens again. As this story develops, we'll bring you the latest details. For now, reporting live in Jamestown tonight, Rachel Monjovi, News 4 at 10.
Such an overwhelming amount of people come out, to share with the family on what we feel, the loss is important to us.
The Dansville community continues to mourn the loss of a daughter, mother, and member of the Air Force killed Tuesday in Jordan. We first told you about Alexandria Gleason Morrow earlier this week on News 4. She was performing maintenance duties during a non-combat operation when she died. She was just 25 years old. Today, members of the Dansville community came together to support her family. They laid wreaths on her memorial. Organizers hope this service will help bring closure to the family.
I wouldn't even pretend to imagine how horrible a feeling that may be. And I'm so glad that what we did here today, I hope, meant something to the family and the community at large.
This was her 2nd deployment in support of the global war on terrorism. She leaves behind her husband and 2 children. A Tonawanda man is behind bars tonight, accused of stabbing another man several times. The victim is listed in critical condition tonight. It happened around 3:45 this morning at a home on Delmar Avenue in the town of Tonawanda. Police say this man, 22-year-old Gabriel Lopez, stabbed a man in the kidney area, causing the victim to lose a lot of blood. Police say before being rushed to ECMC, the victim was able to describe Lopez's car, helping police find him. Lopez is charged with criminal possession of a weapon and assault. Governor Andrew Cuomo has launched a state police investigation after 20 people in Lewiston received what they call racist flyers in their driveways. The bags contained flyers with information about White Lives Matter, stopping illegal immigration, and black-on-white crime. On the bottom, there was a hashtag saying Aryan Renaissance Society. Lewiston police say the flyers don't advocate violence or threats, but they are investigating it as a littering offense because of the way they were distributed. New York State is launching a new program to make sure immigrants have access to legal aid. It's called the Liberty Defense Project, a public-private partnership between the state and several groups. Those involved include legal advocacy groups, private law firms, and universities, including UB's law school. The project will provide immigrants access to pro bono legal representation and assistance, regardless of their legal status. Governor Andrew Cuomo says this is the first program of its kind in the nation. There are more than 4.4 million immigrants in New York State. The launch of this program comes as there are protests in Rochester after 2 migrant workers and their families were detained by Border Patrol officers. Geneseo police stopped the family for speeding. Officers say the woman driving did not have a license and handed over her Guatemalan passport instead. The migrant workers and 6 children were then taken into custody after the officers called Border Patrol. The activists say one of the women and her 12-year-old were brought to the detention center in Buffalo, while the others were released. Several immigrant rights groups now call for answers. Across the nation, pro-Trump and anti-Trump groups met face-to-face a day after the American Health Care Act vote was canceled. President Donald Trump tweeted this morning, quote, "Obamacare will explode," and promised a great health care plan. Wendy Gillette is in New York, where supporters are still standing by the president.
Vice President Pence promised small business leaders in West Virginia that the fight to repeal Obamacare is not over.
Yesterday wasn't a victory for the American people. It was a victory for the status quo in Washington, D.C., and it was a victory for the disaster of Obamacare. But I promise you, that victory won't last very long.
President Trump tweeted, "Obamacare will explode, and we will all get together and piece together a great health care plan for the people. Do not worry." Republican Lindsey Graham said both parties need to work together.
The president should reach out to Democrats. I should reach out to Democrats. And we should say, let's take a shot at doing this together, because it ain't working at doing by ourselves.
Democrats celebrated the collapse of the Republican plan at town hall Saturday.
We killed the bill that he had going. It was a terrible bill.
Supporters of President Trump held Make America Great Again rallies across the country Saturday, including in New York. Some Republicans here admit they're disappointed right now.
The Republican Party eats their own. I mean, they blew it.
I wouldn't call that a defeat. I would call it making sure that it gets done right.
Violence broke out at one rally in Huntington Beach, California, when 2,000 marchers encountered about 30 counter-protesters. Arrests were also made in Omaha, Nebraska. Top Republicans and the president say they're ready to move on to other issues, including tax reform. Wendy Gillette for CBS News, New York.
Coming up next on News 4 at 10, the end of an era. After more than 30 years in business, a local record store is closing its doors. What the owners have planned next and how customers can take advantage of a few last deals. And Star-Spangled Audition. The Bison's fans hoping to sing the national anthem at games this season, and what the judges say they were looking for.
And it was a dreary and chilly Saturday out there. I am tracking a little bit more rain, but I have a warm-up to tell you about coming up in your 401 forecast.